Afternoon, Brendan.
Hi, Dan. Okay.
Just want to start off with team news. Has everyone returned from international duty fit? Any concerns out of Monday?
Yeah, well, we had Wilfred Ndidi came back early, but he's looking really positive. Trained this morning, so he hopefully will be fine. We had Dennis Pratt had a few days where he was struggling, but again he's come through the last few days well and look good in training. So I think we're okay.
And off the back of the Spurs result, did the international break come at a good time? Do you think a time to reassess maybe ahead of Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, it definitely sort of broke the cycle that we were on. I mean, tough summer, tough start to the season with the games, but also gave us a chance to reflect on the performance. And despite the scoreline, there's lots from a coaching perspective we could look at and analyse that was good in the game. And if we can organise a little better some of the small details within the game, then we believe that we can really push on in this next set of games.
And James Maddison said afterwards that conceding again from the set piece, he said, if you would have said how many hours we've spent on the training ground defending set pieces, he was quite gutted. What do you think's missing from the matches, from what you're working on the training pitch?
Well, I think when you're on a run of games where you're not winning, then of course your confidence can be affected. But I look at for large parts of that game, up for 72 minutes of the game, when it was at 3-2, we were still very much in the game and defended well. We're tight. We're together. And actually, when the game opened up, it was actually from us, but it was from a good place. It was the players behind in the game, just wanting to throw everything to get back into the game. And of course, you do that against Tottenham, then they've got Harry Kane and Son, who are incredible in transition and can punish you. So the scoreline I didn't feel reflected the game, because for large parts of it I thought we were very good in the game. But listen, we can't deny we were disappointed with the two set pieces. Like James said, we do hours of work, study, analysis, work on the field, but it's been able to take that into the game situation, because apart from those two moments, we didn't concede so much, especially in the first half.
And because of the run you've been on, Brendan, have you had any conversations with the ownership during the international break around how you can improve results on the pitch? No,
I haven't. But the ownership trust me, and they expect that I'll turn it around. And if they don't, they will tell me. Our conversations are very open and honest, and we communicate well. I've seen Top a number of times, and we speak when he's over. So, but I've had nothing but support from the club. But I also understand where we sit, and this is why we look forward to the game now on Monday.
And just final question ahead of Forest, what have you made of their start to the season, and what have you made of their transfer window as well, signing 22 players? Do you imagine as a manager that's probably quite hard to integrate it into a new team?
Very much so. I think it's sort of contrast really in terms of where we're at with the two clubs in terms of signings and whatnot. But listen, it's always difficult. That first year back in, I've experienced that myself as a manager, and Steve done a brilliant job there to take them from where they were, to get them into the Premier League, to then create a cohesive unit and team with so many new faces is a real challenge. So it's been a difficult start also for them in terms of some of the results. But for us, it's a great game for us to look forward to. We really owe the supporters on this one. It has been a great start to the season for us. The result last year. So we're very determined. The attitude is there for us, and the energy is there to produce a performance that can hopefully kickstart our season. Pleasure, thank you.
Cheers, Dan. If we could just get back to Jason on TalkSport.
Hi, Jason.
On a personal level, how have you spent the last couple of weeks reflecting on the start of the season? Obviously, what was a torrid time at Spurs and a difficult result?
Yeah, it was towards the end of the game. As I said, Jason, for 72, 73 minutes of the game, I enjoyed watching us competing, fighting against a really good team, looking organised, looking compact, looking creative, having the ball for periods of the game, or what I would expect from my teams. And of course, the final 15 minutes, you know, that's what you analyse when you come away and look to see where we can be better in those moments. So like I say, there was no lack of energy or fight from the team, but we got punished in the last sector of the game against a top quality opponent. So our analysis has gone into that. The players have worked well, the players that have been here over this off period, and it's been great to get them all back in together. And as I said, the Monday gives us an extra few days working with them, and having them all back in today, training and working together, they look very good.
You mentioned to Sky just a moment ago about defending well against Spurs. Is that difficult to... Well, I'm finding it difficult to understand, given you conceded 6 goals, 5 before that, and 22 in 7 games so far. So how do you come to the conclusion that you've defended well in games?
No, I said that we defended well in that game. You know, there's obviously key moments, which I've spoken on, where we've conceded from the 2 set pieces, like I've said. That's a static, basic challenge in the game that sadly for us we weren't able to defend. But in lots of other moments of the game against a good team, I thought we pressed the game and defended very well. But we were opened up a little bit in the last 50 minutes of the game, purely in our endeavour to try and get back into the game. So that's what we need to manage better. But yeah, the other games, I've spoken about those before. We haven't defended well enough, of course, fundamentally.
Over the course of the season, I mean, hindsight's always a wonderful thing, as you know. Do you have any regrets about what you've done so far this season in terms of, you know, decision making, maybe in game, before games, in training? Anything that you look back on and think, I made a mistake with this and I could have done better?
I always am self-critical and will always analyse my own performance before everyone else. So I suppose in training, you know, where we analyse the training and within the games, absolutely. So that's always constant. You're always looking to see where you can improve.
A wise person told me recently about trying not to anchor yourself around negative people and try and be around positive people. Do you follow that kind of advice, and who do you draw strength with? Who do you draw strength from at these difficult times, Brendan? Because obviously, you know, you are talked about in terms of your position, how the results have gone, but how do you seek strength at this period of time?
Yeah, believe it or not, it's easy, because I've been coaching and managing now quite a number of years, so obviously with that you learn to regulate all the noise that takes place within the game. Obviously, naturally, listen, if you're bottom of the league and you've lost 6 or 7 games, then you're not going to be flavour of the month. So you understand that. But I think what you learn through experience, you don't isolate yourself. I think that's always important. I love working with these players. I believe that, like last season, that we will come good by the end of the season, and we'll get into a good position. It's been a tough start for us, I know that. But I see these players work, and I see their attitude, and that's something that ultimately gives me strength. And then, like I said, outside, I'm reflective with myself. I'm honest with myself if I don't think I've done a good job. But I also know I'm the best person to help this team move forward. And that's something that I believe that we'll do in the coming weeks.
A couple of things related to the defensive issues. Lars has been here a few weeks now. What kind of impact has he made on set pieces and how you defend them? And I'm also assuming, is it about attacking set pieces with him as well? Yeah.
It's all of the situations in that sort of static situation, or whether it's a throw in or a corner for and against. So yeah, he's settled in really, really well. I think James mentioned something after the game, and how they bought into Lars's work, and yeah, he's very thorough, he's very detailed, and yeah, listen, it's always disappointing. You know, you come in, his first game on the bench, and he's looking at the team concede 2 corners, and I've said before, up until that point, we've defended set pieces well. You know, we conceded away at Arsenal, but in the main, over the course of the games, we've been very strong in set pieces, but those 2 were disappointing from our perspective. So, but he himself, he settled in well into our coaching team. He's got great knowledge, got good experience, and I think over time here, the club will feel the benefit from that.
Danny Ward, obviously coming to the side this season after Casper's departure. How is he at the moment, confidence-wise? Yeah,
it's like the team. It's been a challenging start for him. He's made some really good saves in the games, Danny. But of course, when you concede the goals that we have done, then naturally the spotlight will be on him, especially with Casper being the #1 goalkeeper here for so long. But I repeat, defending as a collective. It's very much from the strikers right the way through to the goalkeeper, and as a team, we need to defend better. And I support Danny. I know his qualities, I know his strengths, and I'm pretty sure, again, over the course of the season, he'll find a higher level and a more consistent level, as will the team.
Pardon me. As I'm sure you understand, a number of fans have been angry, upset about the recent results and run of form. What is your message to them ahead of Monday's game? Because a lot of them will be looking forward to it, but given recent results, maybe not many either.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, it's our job to change the mood for the supporters. There's no doubt about that. We haven't been to our level this season, and you know, we want them to come back. I remember when I first came here, I first came into the ground, and the games against Bournemouth and Fulham were real games of energy, and there was a real good feeling around that. And when we were playing well, you anticipated, you felt that they felt that we would win the game. Now, of course, the expectations have grown so high over these last few years that now that is deemed that's how it should be. But that's what we want to be. We want to be that team that, where we go home and away, in particular at home, that the supporters will come and enjoy watching the team. So that's up to us to change that mood. And if they can give us the backing in that, and give the players, you know, that support on a Monday night at the King Power, it should be a fantastic evening for us. And like I say, we really want to put in the performance for them, because last season's result and performance wasn't anywhere near the standard that we would expect. So hopefully this can be the performance and result that lifts them, lifts the team, and then we can really look forward to them.
Is it a must-win for you?
I don't think on that way, Jason, because it's much more important for the club and for the team. For me, I never think of anything other than winning every game that we go into, and this game's no different. You know, we will train well, we'll work hard, we'll be prepared, and we'll give everything in the game on Monday, and let's see where it takes us.
Thank you. The best of luck.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Ian.
Hope you're okay. You mentioned last season's game against Nottingham Forest. I wonder, when you look back on it, and when your players look back on it, and about how they feel about that night, and how you feel about that night ahead of this game.
Yeah, it was a challenging day. We didn't perform. We actually started the game okay, you know, in terms of our fluidity, but we didn't defend well enough and strong enough. That's the reality. We were just nowhere near the level that's required to win the game. So yeah, it was a very, very disappointing performance. But now we have an opportunity to get the result that we would want in the first game of a Leicester Nottingham Forest game for a number of years. So it's a game that we're all looking forward to. And as I said, that game is gone, and we now got to really look to take the game and bring a real attitude and energy in the stadium to get the points.
I remember talking to you after that game, and you talked about how the players maybe didn't have the experience of a derby match, and maybe that was something that maybe they were lacking on the day. Now they do have that experience, and it is very much the same kind of group of players now. How important will that be heading into this game, when perhaps, especially when you consider form and the table as well, it might even be a little bit more important?
Yeah, well, there's no doubt at this stage. Every game is important. It's you know, especially when you're searching for that first win. But I think the experience of the last game will let everyone feel the importance of the tie. It was we didn't do anywhere near enough to win the game, you know, or have that desire and passion that you need to win the game. So, but this is a totally different game. It's a new season. The players will be ready for it, and they'll look to get the result that we want.
You mentioned already about a sense of maybe owing the fans for that day. Is that a conversation that has to be had, or is it something that's just kind of collectively known and doesn't really need to be spoken about?
No, we'll speak about that more closer to the game. But there's no doubt we want to obviously do it for our team and for the points, but ultimately you're playing for your supporters. So and on that day we didn't do them justice at all. You know, they gave us great backing, great support. They were there in the thousands, and we didn't turn up. So so for this game, we will be ready for that, and I'm sure the crowd will be ready as well. So that connection and that synergy between the two will hopefully provide a brilliant atmosphere and allow us to play our football.
Final one, Brendan, but you've been involved in some massive derby games in your managerial career. But in terms of significance and maybe the kind of storm that's brewing around this one, how big does this feel for you on a personal level?
No, listen, they're all big games, and any derby game, having been involved in the ones I have, they're always very, very important. But yeah, no, this one feels, you know, significant because of our position and what's gone before it. So so I'm really hoping that we can look to go and perform and get the win, which I think will be a huge shot of confidence for the players. Because, like I say, we should have won up until now, but the reality is we haven't. So now we have a great chance in a local derby game at home to go and collect the first 3 points, and it won't be easy. But that's our challenge, to go and embrace that and go and show the qualities and just try to consistently do it over the course of a game, rather than 60 minutes or 70 minutes, and get the job done.
Brendan, very best of luck on Monday.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hi Brendan, hope you're well.
Yeah, good.
I know that you've answered so many questions on your future here.
Yeah,
at
it's
the
no
moment,
problem.
But the flip side of the coin is I would imagine you yourself have to be happy. And I'm wondering if you are happy here after what's been a really difficult time for you, but also if the club matches your own personal ambitions.
Listen, I've repeatedly said the joy that I have in being here and working here. As I said, it's a lot of the time here. It's been on the up, but of course this season it's been a real challenge. So, but I'm really enjoying the moment in terms of looking to prove that I can steer the team out of it. I've seen enough, knowing that the players are close to doing that. We just need to be hardened in certain areas. But from a personal level, it's never changed for me. You know, I've loved being here. I've enjoyed working here, and want to continue that.
During the international break, both England and Northern Ireland had difficult patches in that criticisms of results, but with the managers also under a bit of pressure. Does international football management intrigue you, appeal to you at all?
I will do it at some point in my career and life. But yeah, listen, whatever level it's at, whether it's club or international football, when the focus is on you, and if you don't get the results, then you know the criticism will be there. So we all understand that. There's always going to be noise around your position, and I totally get that. But I think what's key is it's always perspective for me. You know, I went to Children's Hospice in Northern Ireland over the international break, and everything brings you back down to earth again. You've seen kids suffering and families suffering, then we don't really suffer in football. Yeah, you can lose games, of course, and be disappointed, but in the real world, it's not really suffering. So, but as managers, of course, we want to get results, and we want to win games, and we want to make our supporters happy, and whether it's country or club, that's all we want to do. But with that comes pressure, and you have to deal with that.
So just to say as well, you're not ruling out international football and management at some point in your career in the future, perhaps?
No, it's always been an ambition of mine at some point. But I've still got another 2.5 years contract here, and I'm very happy and want to finish my contract here and leave the club in the best possible position that it can be in.
And just the final one, you mentioned the expectation that the fans have. I know it's a perverse way of saying it, but is the club and maybe fans victims of success here because of how well the club has done under you over the last few years? And does it also highlight the importance of European football for clubs like yourself in the Premier League?
Well, listen, when you're bottom of the league, it's the supporters have every right not to be overly pleased. But listen, I think it's always the challenge for clubs like ourselves to be fighting, and that's what I've always set as the expectation here, that we can be fighting for European football. But of course, for that, there needs to be constant improvement. This season, we haven't shown the improvements as of yet, but I think over the course of the season, hopefully we can get ourselves into a much better position in the league. So, but for clubs like ourselves, it's always going to be a huge challenge, but it's a challenge that certainly I relish.
Thanks, Brendan. Good luck.
Pleasure. Thank you.